Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So first of all, I would like to thank ICAZ-2020 organizers and the chairman of ISAC, who has given us this opportunity to present this work. So today I'm going to share the studies on the effect of coumarins for cardiometabolic disorders using fructose-induced metabolic syndrome. So I declare no conflict of interest with the contents and delivery of this presentation. So the non-communicable disorders, one of the priority health ailment and contributing as a major health burden in society. More than 35 million people are worldwide are suffering from non-communicable disorders, including cardiometabolic disorders. And amongst these, 80% belongs to uh, developing countries, and we, the Pakistan, are also being in top related to the health burden, the disease burden of these cardiometabolic disorders. So these, as per WHO, more than 1 billion adults worldwide are overweight and around 300 million are obese. And IDF shares that the 415 million people, amongst those more men compared to the women, are globally living with the diabetes, had been globally living with the diabetes in 2017. And this number will shoot up to 642 millions by 2040. In an estimate by WHO, the prevalence of diabetes in Pakistan was also high in 2016. That was approaching to 10%, and in future, that's also speculated to be in a double digit. So keeping all these in consideration, this is focusing that this area need to be looked into for newer therapeutic modalities for the treatment or to combat these cardiometabolic disorders. So the cardiometabolic disorders, if you look at these, are thought to be the cluster of different diseases like impaired glucose tolerance leading to development of insulin resistance, abdominal obesity, dyslipidemia, hypertension, and most of these disorders are majorly developed because of our dietary habits and the lifestyle patterns, which this developed world has given us the gift. So, keeping all these consideration, the coumarins, which are secondary metabolites, and belongs to benzopyrone family, are found in many edible plants like in cinnamon cassia, green tea, peppermint, slurry, and the carrots. Its concentration also varies from 1 mg per kg to around 87 mg, 87,000 mg per kg in the cassia. And the substitution of the lactone and the benzene rings offers the coumarins into different classes comprising in the simple and the complex coumarins. So the coumarins have been studied for variety of the ailments, including chemically induced diabetes, anticoagulants, antithrombotic, anti-cancer activities, and also in cardiac hypertrophic effects. However, their insulin sensitizing antioxidant and their effectiveness in the cardiometabolic disorders has not been yet evidenced in the literature. So this study has been designed to evaluate coumarins as a potential therapeutic candidate, might be therapeutic as a preventive candidate for metabolic syndrome using high sucrose fat-induced metabolic syndrome animal model. So the study protocols were approved by the ethics committee, and the animal species which were used primarily are the rats. However, some tissues of the guinea pigs and for the toxicity studies, mice were also used in this study. Fructose-induced animal model was used. Animals were randomized and divided into different groups. Then treatment was carried out after induction period. Then isolated tissues were isolated and histological studies were conducted on the isolated tissues. Systolic blood pressures through non-invasive method was measured by using PALAB data acquisition system, where the systolic blood pressure was monitored where the pulse just tries to rise. The results showed here the coumarin, similar to the metformin, showed effect compared to the diseased group, and on the heart rate, equal effects were found, similar to the effect of the positive control. Now, when it was tested for its effect on isolated tissue preparations, the tissues were isolated from those animals, the treated animals. Those were mounted in the assembly and were provided with the normal physiological, the salt solution, temperature, and the carbogen gas. Then PALAB data acquisition system was used to assess the effects. And among the effects, you can see here that it caused vasorelaxant effect, possibly mediated through potassium channels activation. And if we look at the sensitivity of the potassium channels, then the TEA sensitive potassium channels and 4-AP sensitive potassium channels were found to be the solely involved in its vasorelaxant effect. When the tissues were also assessed for their effect on endothelium, so the treatment with the coumarin showed reversal of the damaged endothelium compared to the diseased group. So also showing that the coumarin has also insulin dependent and endothelium dependent vasorelaxant effect that might be contributing in its vasorelaxant potential. In HOMA-IR, it has also been found effective, similar to the positive control. When we looked at the tissues, the revival of the pancreatic beta cell was found with the treatment groups compared to this diseased group. Similarly, the septa thickness were also found to be revived, similar to the normal control compared to disease groups in the treatment group of the coumarin. Immunohistochemical staining for these pancreatic tissues have also showed the density of the beta cells higher, similar to the normal, and more than this diseased group in this treatment and the treatment of the coumarin group, similar to the positive control. The hepatic tissues have also showed the positive influence of this treatment compared to others. Similarly, the portal vein was found to be revived in this treatment group compared to the disease group, where it has found been degraded. So keeping all these in consideration, we may conclude that the coumarin possesses antihypertensive and vasodilator properties, one arm of metabolic disorders, and might be mediating their effect through potassium channel activation and involving the non-specific potassium channels, and partly a weak effect on the calcium channels as well. So these findings may provide sound pharmacological basis to the coumarins for the development of therapeutic agents or the preventive agents to combat CMDs in the future. With this, I'd like to acknowledge our collaborators, my mentor, my former institution, Arkan University, and the Government College University, Faisalabad. Thank you for patience listening.